There's a thing Americans do that I do not like. That is claiming you're Irish or German or Italian or another nationality even though you aren't, just because your ancestors who came more than 100 years ago were like that, even if their culture doesn't exist in your family anymore. I mean, of course, if you're American but your ancestors came to America 3 generations ago or less, and the culture is still a part of you, fine, you can identify as that. Or if you're indigenous, you can identify as your tribe, since your tribe was in the land for thousands of years before America as a concept even existed. No, what I'm talking about are these white people in America whose ancestors have been Americans since like the 1920s or earlier, and still claim they're Irish or Italian or German, etc. Like, no, you aren't. If you tried to get citizenship in that country, the embassy workers would just laugh you out of the building. And you can't even count to 10 in the language of the country you identify with. Like, almost nothing about most white people in America is anything remotely connected to Irish culture or German culture, etc. Like, the culture just got erased within 3 generations. Italian Americans, quote unquote, are slightly better because they still eat their food from their ancestors, but they don't know how to speak Italian or a regional language, since standard modern Italian wasn't really a thing yet when Italians moved to America, and they don't use Italian internet or watch Italian movies or shows, and never lived in Italy. I'm tired of these Americans who inherently hate themselves and want to identify as another country and take DNA tests and obsess over the results. Like, why can't you just like your culture instead of having to identify with people who literally hate you and make jokes about school shootings in America online? So you can like your country while still being against imperialism and the healthcare system and car-dependent cities. You don't have to agree with everything our government does somewhat to like your country. Also, even then, almost all Americans are mixed somewhat. Even if they aren't mixed race, they are still mixed between ethnic groups within a race. Like, almost every white person in America is mixed between some DNA from Ireland and Scotland and England and Germany, and Italy or Poland sometimes too. So it's kind of dumb to identify with one, since you most likely have had ancestors from almost everywhere in Europe, pretty much. Or at least Western Europe. Like, I have some German and Irish ancestry, yet my family doesn't eat any German food and doesn't speak German, and I don't even know any Irish food, don't speak Irish either. The German and Irish ancestors I have just assimilated into white American society and only spoke English to their kids, and learned how to cook Southern food, and only taught that to their kids. Like, there's literally nothing I have in common with Germans or Irish people. If anything, I have more in common with Mexicans, since my mom grew up in a border town for a bit as a kid and learned how to speak Spanish as a second language and cook Mexican food as a kid. Even though my family has zero Mexican ancestry, not even a little bit, no, nothing. Somehow I'm more culturally similar to Mexicans, even though I'm not DNA related at all, than people that are technically my ancestors. That's how little my immigrant ancestors has taught their culture to their descendants in America. Like, Irish and German culture is basically extinct in America since like the 1950s, pretty much. So it's kind of silly to identify with that as American. Thing is, I actually used to think this way too, like identifying as German when I was like 11, or before I realized how retarded it was, since they came like in the late 1800s and their culture is gone in my family. And I stopped doing it after a few months. Like, there's full grown adult Americans still thinking this way, obsessing over DNA and shit like that. Also, another thing is, like, other multiracial countries don't think this way. Like, Mexicans and Brazilians and Australians and New Zealanders just think of themselves as that and not obsessing over ancestry or DNA or family tree and claiming to be another nationality. So why can't Americans be like them? Like, I haven't seen any Mexicans identifying as Spaniards or Brazilians as Portuguese or Australians as English. The only other countries that are multiracial and still think how Americans do are like Malaysia and South Africa and I meant black supremacist occupied territory. But Malaysia, they are actually the country they claim to be. Like, the Chinese Malaysians still speak Chinese and visit China for vacation and eat Chinese food to this day. and do things differently from the native Malays and Indian Malaysians. South Africans, people aren't so obsessed with exact ethnic groups, just cultural general groups. Like, an Afrikaner will still call themselves an Afrikaner instead of obsessing over exact DNA or a family tree. They made their own unique identity different from exact ethnic groups. Like, an Afrikaner is culturally Dutch, but they may have some German ancestry or might have some English mixed in or something, or might not have any Dutch ancestry but still be culturally an Afrikaner, even if their ancestors are from another part of Europe. Not to mention the colors too, which are mixed race people that identify as being mixed to the point of having a unique culture separated from black or white people, etc. As for the Rhodesia, I mean Zimbabwe, the white people there just think of themselves as white, not exact ethnic groups in a DNA test, or they just say they're Rhodesian or Zimbabwean. America is uniquely obsessed with exact DNA test results and family tree, regardless of culture. Thanks for watching this long rant. Join my Discord server if you're a guy, and maybe comment your thoughts and share if you like it. Goodbye.